Trading Buddy over. So this is for the NinjaTrader platform. So let's go through now what the Trading Buddy does. So let's start from the top. That is the time in EST. That is default, and because everything revolves around EST time for the markets. Okay, and then this AST is actually the time here in Dubai. So I can change those particular times. Now we have a live economic calendar. Okay, obviously the markets are closed right now, but you know, this is what comes up for the day. There's a red line usually where we are in the day and what's coming up and all that sort of thing. Very, very important. And we can see I've got the filter on here to give me medium or high impact data. The low impact data I'm not really interested in, because on HG, that low impact data really doesn't affect it at all. But you will also see on the chart at the same time, so at 200 hours on Friday, we had GBP data, okay, which actually is 11 a.m. here. It's this GDP data here for the UK. So that corresponds to the flag on the chart on a vertical line. So if you're coming up to that, you need to understand what type of trade you're going to do. And, you know, if you're getting into a trade, you've got to be careful and all that sort of stuff. So again, operational landscape, what's coming ahead. But you can also look at how your instrument reacts on data in the past. So we can see here at 8:30 on Thursday, we had economic data, and we can see this reaction to the downside here as well. We can see Swiss data here coming in and the reactions there as well. So, you know, you can start to understand which data points affect your instrument and which have a very sort of, you know, negligent, you know, not negligent, but a very small effect or impact on your instruments. Let's go back to where we are. So one of the things which is really cool about this are these are correlation meters. Okay, NQ, ES, RTY, and YM, they are fixed. Okay, so this gives you a good idea of overall market sentiment. So in the past, when you saw that video of me on my trading setup, one of my chart sets on that big monitor that was vertical on the screen there was a whole chart set, and was 4 charts in there with those NQ, ES, RTY, and YM. And I always look at those to see, you know, I want confidence that the market's behaving properly, or is there sector rotation between RTY, YM, and NQ and ES and all that sort of thing. For me, I personally like it when they're all going the same direction. That gives me, you know, whether it's down or up, it doesn't really matter for me, whether it's green or red. It's just that they're predominantly going in the same direction, and we've got that positive correlation, and I feel very comfortable there's good trading conditions. That's the first thing. And then here on these 3 pairs, these are changeable. You can change those whatever you want. So for example, I've got HG and GC here. I've got CL and HG and ES. So they're correlations that I look for. So in reality, sometimes what I'm looking for with copper trades, for example, that we have a positive correlation between gold. So if they're both predominantly red and I'm trading copper and I get a short signal on one of those signal softwares, I'm pretty confident that, you know, the correlations are good with that. I know, for example, during the European morning, we have a negative correlation between oil and copper. But when it comes to pre-market and especially after the oil pit open in the US, that correlation goes positive. So it's that behavior that I'm looking for to understand that, yes, the correlations are good. Oil's going up in the European morning, copper's coming down. I get a short signal for copper. That gives me confidence. That the operational landscape is right now on one of my screens, and it's front and center, and it's really, really important. So what I'm going to do now is go and show you some examples of gold on there with some of the indicators on. Okay, so this was Friday. Okay, so we had that UK data that came out. Okay, we had previous data that came out up here as well. So one of the things I look for is that this is the range breakout. These are the opening ranges you can see here, if we just go back. But what I've done is set it to data times. Okay, so this is an 8:30 data time in the US. Okay, and at that point, I will be looking at those correlations. I understand it's coming up. I understand we're going to print an opening range. Okay, and then I want to trade the reaction. But I've got the Guardian zones on there. I'm not interested in a long because I've got this resistance of this 60, 15 and the 10-minute hits. So much resistance, it's going to fail. I'm not going to go long. What I am going to do is I'm going to wait for it to come down. I know I've got a little bit of 10-minute support down here, which almost correlates with this previous opening range. So I'm going to wait. I've got the US data come out. We have the reaction. I understand the behavior now. I'm looking at my correlations on the right. I see here GC is negative, 6E is positive. There's a negative correlation there. Really good for this type of trade. Everything looks good for me. GC, ES, everything looks good. Obviously, this is a correlation of when we closed here, but what I'm trying to say is that's what we're looking for. And then I would just take the trade coming down below that 2728 sort of mark all the way down to here. And then when we had the London data, this is a different type of strategy here. So this is what we have this 2 a.m. We measure the 10 minutes going into it before, and we get a yellow. So it's like this amber here, and that's what we call a straddle trade. Okay, so normally what we would do with a straddle trade is look for a trade above and an order below, because that straddle trade is confirmed by the bias depth heat map having green, yellow, and red in there. So there's total indecision there. But I know it's a data point, and I go and have a look at my correlations at that time, and I say, actually, I'm only interested in a short trade, okay, on gold right now, because the correlations are saying actually the short trades are going to be good here, the long trades aren't because of the correlations. Yeah, quick glance, that's where we are. And the same with this data. I mean, this gold pit open here for Friday as well. It's quite a wide open, but there was a trade down to that support and resistance zone there. It did continue to go down as well, but it's about those correlations. One more example with a VWAP Predator here. So again, what we see is this is on the 3-minute Heikin-Ashi, and there are options here. We get this UK data that comes out. I'm not going to trade short into this support. Plus, also we've got this different type of strategy here. We need confirmation from this bias depth heat map. So what we're looking for is these sell signals coming through this 30-minute zone. Then we get one here that closes. That's where I'm going, because all my confirmation is all red. I've got loads of fresh air down to that zone. In the end, we close out at the end of the session. Sorry, that's the Chinese data. And then, and so on and so forth. We get another one late morning in the US, but there's not a lot of fresh air in there. But the main thing is with the trading buddy, and it's coming out in January, is that it gives you that operational landscape to be able to feel confident. You understand what's coming up, how your instrument has reacted to that, medium to high impact data in the past. Understand what's coming up today, making your trading plan. Then you've got your correlation. So you really, we need to understand that, first of all, is the market behaving normally? Is there synergy in the market? If there's a bit of sector rotation in there, and so for example, NQ and ES could be green. RTY could be half red, and YM could be half red. So there's a bit of selling off in those two indexes, in stocks in those indexes, and they're buying in the others. So just understanding that allows us to understand that, if ES is all green, for example, and we replace that with 6E there, and we've got that negative correlation with GC, we know that's behaving normally. And again, I cover these normal behaviors in the X-Brad Academy.